In today's video, I'm going to be discussing who I think will dethrone every single active champion currently in WWE on the main roster. Now, I want to make this video semi-monthly. I'm actually heavily inspired by Mr. Santi's app on this idea, and so if you haven't, please go ahead and give him some love. Go subscribe to his channel, all that good stuff. But I'm going to go ahead and jump into it, and I'm going to tell you who I think is going to dethrone every active champion currently in WWE. And now, starting off first, I am going to be discussing the women's tag team champions, which are currently held by Bianca Belair and Naomi. And now, it was Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, but Jade Cargill was injured on a recent episode of SmackDown, so Naomi has kind of stepped in to take that place. So, however, I do think that on this one, it's a little bit hard simply because there's not enough tag teams within WWE right now, and maybe that's been because they've had the 2-hour time slot for a long time, that they haven't really focused on these titles too much. However, I do think that without a real shadow of a doubt, I do think Candice LeRae and Nia Jax is going to be the ones to take those titles, simply because Nia Jax just got over her WWE Women's Championship run, and Candice LeRae is definitely needing a little bit of that veteran rub to give her a little bit more credibility within the main roster. And I do think that her and Nia Jax winning the women's tag team championships is a great way to do that. And I'm not entirely sure if Nia Jax has ever won it before. I guess I could research that. I do think that would be an awesome thing to happen, and I guess we'll see what happens. And I'm going to next be talking about the WWE tag team champions, which are currently being held by DIY, also known as Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Now, I do think that the people that will be taking the next title reign with these championships will be none other than Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa. Or maybe Tama Tonga, but probably Solo Sikoa. The bloodline, or what's left of the bloodline after the tribal combat match, I do think that there needs to be a little bit more kind of a build up here. Jacob Fatu needs something. However, I don't really want to see them feed Shinsuke Nakamura to Fatu just yet. I don't think he quite needs any singles gold just yet, just because he's such an attraction all on himself. But I do think that Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa will be the next WWE tag team champions. Coming up, to finish off the tag team champions, we are going to be talking about the world tag team champions, which are currently being held by the War Raiders. Now, this one is a little bit tougher until I realized the obvious elephant in the room. I think the New Day will come back together and reach the pinnacle of the tag team division, and they will get another tag team championship. And maybe we'll see some sort of storyline play out with Big E. Maybe he comes and helps them, or maybe they, there's some sort of storyline along the way after they win it. However, I do think Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods will be the next WWE World Tag Team Champions. Now, let's start with the women once again on the mid-card titles here. Now, to get an easy one off the table here, the Women's Intercontinental Championship. This one will be up for grabs coming up soon on the next Monday Night Raw on Netflix, the second ever episode on Netflix. And I do think that it will be Lyra Valkyria that takes the title. I think that Dakota Kai definitely has earned every right to be that person. However, I just think that WWE is going to let the babyface hold the title here the first time around. I don't know. We're going to see what happens. But if I had to pick, I'm going to go ahead and say Lyra Valkyria. It seems like that's the one they're going to want to push. I don't know. I'm just kind of guessing on this one if I'm being honest. However, I do pick, but Lyra Valkyria will be the first ever WWE Women's Intercontinental Champion. Now moving over to the Men's Intercontinental Championship, we have Mr. Braun Breaker. He is just on an absolute tear in his second Intercontinental Championship reign after winning Jey Uso. He's, I think, passed over 170 days at this point, and he doesn't really seem like he's going to be slowing down at all. You could guess that Sheamus is going to be the one to take the title off of Braun Breaker. I think I got a little bit more of a big-time possibility. I personally think that Logan Paul will come back in and win the second mid-card title of his career, being the Intercontinental Championship. I think that'll probably happen sometime after Mania. Maybe there'll be like a ladder match or a fatal four-way or a triple threat. I don't know. There might be something. However, I think Logan Paul will be your next Intercontinental Champion on his way to becoming a Grand Slam champion inside of WWE. Right, so now let's move on to the United States Championship. And once again, to start off with the women, we have the Women's United States Champion, and that is Miss Chelsea Green. Now, this is the first run with this title, and I doubt this is going to happen anytime soon, because I don't think they're just going to hot potato it for a while just to get a bunch of names holding it. Maybe that's what they do, but I don't really want to see both titles booked the same way, so I think if I had to guess, that the person that will eventually take the United States Championship off of Chelsea Green will be none other than Miss Piper Nivens. Now, the WWE is all about betrayal, and we have thousands of examples of this happening. I think if you just kind of build it over time, let Chelsea Green take too much of the spotlight, and Piper Niven somehow stumbles into an opportunity, and then Piper Niven happens to get the victory on some sort of fluke or technicality, I don't know. But I think the next WWE Women's United States Champion will be Piper Nivens. Before we get back to the video, I really need to ask you one simple favor. Will you please subscribe to this channel right now? I'm going to be uploading daily wrestling videos. You're not going to want to miss anything, so go ahead and hit the subscribe button now so you don't miss anything. And if you really want to support extra, I will be opening up a Patreon, which will allow me to have a little bit more financial freedom as far as like producing this kind of content. Maybe I can hire an editor. Thank you for your support. Truly do appreciate it, but I won't waste any more of your time. Get back in the video. So now, moving on to the men's side. As far as the United States Championship goes, that is currently being held by none other than the man, the myth, the legend, Shinsuke Nakamura. This one's really hard because I personally think that LA Knight was a better champion. However, Shinsuke hasn't actually defended the title yet. So we will have to see what goes on. LA Knight will get the title back maybe sometime around Mania. Again, sort of similar to the Intercontinental Championship. Maybe they do a triple threat or a fatal four-way with Santos, LA Knight, and Andrade with Shinsuke Nakamura. And maybe one of those other guys get it. But I do think that Mr. LA Knight, become a two-time United States champion. Now, moving on to the Women's World Championship. This title was just recently won once again by Rhea Ripley on the debut of Raw on Netflix. And after a long feud with Liv Morgan, I hope that feud is over. I hope we don't get any more of Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley. I do, however, hope that we do get a match between Io Sky and Rhea Ripley sometime in the near future. Now, will Io Sky take the title off of Rhea Ripley? I'm not entirely sure. I think that would be a really cool feud. I think that could be really awesome. But if I were to guess and take a random stab at it, after the Raw on Netflix, I do think that Bayley will enter in to Monday Night Raw and take on Rhea Ripley and become the next Women's World Champion. Staying with the women to end this out, we do have another brand new title holder. We have Miss Tiffany Stratton, who just recently won this championship after cashing in on Nia Jax on the first episode of SmackDown in 2025. After, 6 months, 8 months of Tiffany Stratton failing to cash in or teasing us and then no showing or deciding against it last minute, I do think that Tiffany Stratton is poised to have one awesome run as the WWE Women's Champion. I think that the person she will face at WrestleMania likely will take the title off of her. A lot of my title situations seem to stretch all the way through to Mania, so I guess we're going to see how that plays out. We will have a return of Charlotte Flair, and Tiffany Stratton will lose to Charlotte Flair under the big lights of WrestleMania, and Charlotte Flair will yet again be on top of the WWE. Moving on to the men for the final two predictions, we have the World Heavyweight Champion Gunther, and I do think that Gunther has had a pretty lackluster run overall. After having an incredibly dominant reign as Intercontinental Champion, I think this run as World Heavyweight Champion has been a little bit lackluster. I don't know if this was how it was always planned or if things have changed or if it was just to kind of pull the trigger and give him the title early so we can have a couple more to pad his stats by the time it's done. I do think the man that's going to beat Gunther will be none other than the Second City Saint, Mr. CM Punk. The voice of the voiceless will regain gold within the WWE. CM Punk will be the one to dethrone Gunther. All right, and now moving on to the best champion on the list, we have the undisputed WWE Universal World Heavyweight Champion, Mr. Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes has been honestly one of the best champions that WWE has had for quite some time. I mean, obviously, Roman Reigns was one of the best title holders. In fact, he was like the third longest title holder in all of WWE history. Cody Rhodes has done incredibly well. However, I do think babyface Cody Rhodes has maybe gotten a little stale to some fans. And I do think that taking the title off of him either gives him an opportunity to chase the title again, which is where a babyface is always best coming from, or it allows him to maybe turn heel and fully embrace that Homelander character. So who will beat Cody Rhodes for the WWE Undisputed World Heavyweight Championship? The person that will disrupt Cody Rhodes' reign will be none other than John Cena. He will be the one to dethrone Cody Rhodes, probably at WrestleMania, maybe at SummerSlam, but Cody Rhodes will lose to none other than the guy we can't see, Mr. John Cena. So that has been my list for every person that will dethrone every active champion within the main roster of WWE. Do you agree with my predictions? Do you disagree? Do you have anyone I might have missed? You have something different? Let me know down in the comments below. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel for more, where we will continue to post daily wrestling YouTube videos. And without further ado, you guys be safe. Have a good one.